So hello! Well, today I'd like to take a look at this book on Hampshire, which is a perfect English county indeed, and the one that I lived in last before I left for Poland. So it's written by Bob Croxford, and I think he's taken all the pictures of it as well, so awesome, very, very lovely. There's the information on it if you need to grab yourself a copy. So that's the famous Watership Down, where they made the, they based the animation about the rabbits, you know. Bright eyes, burning like fire. Yeah, don't give up your day job, eh, Timber? HMS Victory in Portsmouth. Lord Nelson, Admiral Horatio, and the Victory, the back end of it. So sort of typical Portsmouth scene there. Beautiful place. Well, what's left of it. I mean, it got very heavily bombed by the Luftwaffe in World War II, sadly, Portsmouth. So there's very little of the original buildings. It's the cathedral. There's Charles Dickens' birthplace. Looks Georgian to me. Beautiful house. Wonderful houses. Spice Island, the pub. South Sea Castle. Get your tongue out of your teeth, mate. Ah. That's the pier at South Sea. There's Porchester Castle. And there's Titchfield Castle. So you get these cruise ships that go out of places like onto the Solent, you know. That's the Calshot Spa, the old lighthouse, the old lightship, rather, it's now permanently moored in the docks near Southampton, as it's locally said. There's a merchant's house in Southampton, and that's the Bar Gate in Southampton, as I say it, obviously the wrong way. Werewell, the thatched cottage, lovely, but I wouldn't want to have one, I must say, because just one small spark and the whole thing is up in flames. And I was speaking to a fireman once. He said it's the hardest thing to put out is a thatched fire, because obviously the roof itself is designed to repel water. So as they douse it with the hoses, it just the water just gets pitched away. East Meon, and the beautiful little church at Kingsclere. There's a little thatched cottage, and this is the famous authoress Jane Austen's cottage, or house at Chawton. Awesome. Southwick, that's the little place in Southwick. Another thatched cottage at Long Parish. Beautiful. I mean, they are lovely to look at, I must admit. Hursley, near Winchester, very pretty. Another cottage in Southwick. So that Gilbert White's house at Selborne, and that's the kind of forests around Selborne. That's Ringwood. Andover, very lovely. And Romsey. Yes, I worked at Andover, not briefly actually, for an IT contract. And at Romsey, I think, was the chap's name? The chap that got blown up by the terrorists, Mountbatten. I think his family, or his wife's house was at Romsey. I used to go past it. Very, very pretty property in actual fact. Well, you see the gates anyway. Petersfield, very lovely, and Bishop's Waltham. Stockbridge. Very, very lovely town, just north of Winchester, and Fordingbridge, which is another very pretty place. And Alton, it's on the Watercress Line, Alton, which is that. The Watercress Line was an original beaching cut in the 60s, and they petitioned to have it reopened, and it's now a sort of heritage line where they run steam trains up and down. Great fun to go. I can highly recommend it. It's in New Alresford, which is the mill here in New Alresford, and that's a partial segment of the High Street. Very pretty town. As I say, I can highly recommend it to visit Hampshire. Winchester Cathedral, lovely place. Been there many times. That's the town hall at Winchester. Winchester used to be the capital of England back in the day, and there's King Arthur, King Alfred even. Sorry, get it right. King Alfred, Elfred, or whatever his name was. And that's King's Gate, which is obviously on the front cover of the book in that picture form. St Cross Hospital. You can still get the Wayfarer's dole served to you there if you go and tap on the door. The monks will come out and give you a small chug of ale and some bread, I believe. Anyway, they were certainly doing it still when I lived there 20 years ago. Obviously Winchester Cathedral in one of its moods of the evening. Beautiful. And there's Watership Down again. Some sheep. So, there you go, little Romany church near Bramdean. And that's a trail on Selborne. It is awesome. Emsworth. Lovely place. So, as I say, if you're in England, if you're in the UK and that's Longston, and you're short of a place to go for a weekend or whatever, head yourself down to Hampshire. Hayling Island. Lovely. And that's Hamble Marina. I used to go out with a girl very briefly years back. Her father had a little motor launch he had moored in Hamble. We used to go off to the Isle of Wight in it. Absolute superb fun. Awesome memories. Fareham. And Lymington. Beautiful. Eel fishing traps on the River Test. So there are two main rivers in Hampshire that I remember, the Test and the Itchen. And that's the Itchen there. I used to live right next to it. You'd literally throw a stone from my property and it would land in the Itchen. Awesome. And that's the River Anton, so there's the third one, near Andover. And that's the River Test. And that's a duck, probably on the River Test. And that's the Itchen. I used to love walking up and down there. I really miss it. Pierre White had a restaurant in Wandsworth Common. He was a brutal man in actual fact. I used to work in Wandsworth Common years ago. I used to live there. And I worked in a brasserie just 2 doors up from his restaurant, which I think was called the Living Room or the Lounge or something like that. And he used to regularly beat on his waiters and chefs because he didn't like something they'd done. He used to strike them violently. I used to say to the little French chap used to come in and say, "Oh, he's beaten me again." And I say, well, why don't you call the police? "Oh no, I need the references." The things people do for money, eh? That's the young shoot. And that's the Rufus stone, which was King William II, surnamed Rufus, was slain there, I think, in 1100 or something like that. New Forest ponies. Well, that's a foal, but it will be a pony. Beautiful. And there's a Hampshire pig. They're famous as well. So there you go. That's Dark Water, that's called. And you get these awesome trees down there as well in Hampshire. Really lovely place. Really lovely. Massive thumbs up for it. Lyndhurst, right in the heart of the New Forest. I love Lyndhurst. Used to go there all the time for walks with my old dog called Spikey and my missus. Yeah, so there you go. Well, thanks ever so much for watching. I can highly recommend this book if you want to get yourself a copy. Jimmy's asleep again. Jello! So, all the very best wishes and cheers. Thank you. Bye.